All right, well, we are right at one now, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick intro so we can get started. Thank you for joining us for session 4 with Natalie Kenny Marquez of Grow Marketing and Communications. This session is using email marketing to promote your online store. If you haven't joined us for one of our previous sessions of this 6-part series, thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you for the next few that we have on schedule. Just a few quick things before we get started. You are welcome to ask questions. We just ask that you submit those via the chat box and we will get them covered either throughout the presentation or once we are all done. You are welcome to submit those at any time though. More interaction in the chat is always great, get some conversation going. And you'll also receive a follow-up email tomorrow, and that will include a recording of today's session and a PDF version of Natalie's presentation that you see today. I will also include links to the next 2 sessions of this series. They are the final 2 that we'll be having after this one. And I'll include links to all of our co-hosts on today's session, which are a wide variety of community partners. So you can check out their websites and see what their organizations are up to. So at this time, I'll hand it over to Natalie and we can get started.
Thank you so much for the introduction. You'd think that by now I would know how to unmute on Zoom after all these years of it, but I am happy to be here. I may have tested our limits today, our time limits, with the number of slides I prepared for you because I really got into email marketing. I have quite a few clients that are really gung-ho about this in 2024, so I've done a lot of recent research that I'm happy to share with you today because really there's no doubt that email marketing is really effective. But I don't know about all of you on the call, but how many times have you sat down to begin an email marketing project and just immediately felt overwhelmed? You know, sometimes it's hard to know where to start, especially when you are just getting started. Not really sure where each of you are at in your kind of business timeline, but we're going to go through some steps today that you can follow, whether you're new to email marketing or you've been doing it for a while and looking for ways to become wiser at email marketing. So the first thing you need to do in email marketing is to get people to sign up for your email list. It sounds easy enough, but sometimes it's a little harder than we think. Maybe you already have a list of email contacts, so you can import those into your email platform. Or maybe you need to build a list from scratch. One way that you can do this is with an effective incentive. Oftentimes we call it a lead magnet or an incentive. It's really a piece of content or a deal or a perk that attracts potential customers to your business, enough so that they'll actually give you their email address in exchange for it. This item or offer that you give away needs to be something kind of valuable and makes people feel like they'll miss out if they don't sign up. You know, fear of missing out is a real thing. So you can add a lead magnet or an incentive as a pop-up on your website or on your homepage. You can share it on your social media networks. Some incentive ideas that I've done in the past is a free gift or free shipping. Maybe it's exclusive content just for people on your email list. And we talked about ways to incorporate content into your website in some of the past courses. And so this could be a great way that you could utilize that content again or repurpose it through an email. Perhaps you have samples of some of your products and you could ship out some samples to people that give you their email address. Or maybe it's early access to save. Maybe you're having like a President's Day sale since today is President's Day. But for your email subscribers, you gave them an extra day or a way to have early access to the sale. Whatever you provide needs to be catered specifically to your audience based on what they're going to find valuable enough in exchange for their email. So it's important to know a little bit more about your audience, and we'll get into that in one of the next slides. I did say pop-ups earlier, but I want to provide some caution with pop-ups if this is something that you're going to use on your website as a way to build your email list. I don't know about you, but sometimes I think they're super annoying, especially from a mobile view. So I say proceed with caution when it comes to pop-ups. Use sparingly or very specifically for sales or signups or something that has a definitive start and end date so that you're not leaving them up all the time. And speaking of email lists, be sure you have a way for current customers and website visitors to sign up for your email list. So that means maybe having a form on your website that integrates with your email marketing platform so that you can automate the process of adding emails to your list. That's super important. All of you are way too busy to have to do that all manually. And so finding ways to automate is going to make your life a whole lot easier. A lot of times with the email signup forms, you can add fields to help really better understand your subscribers or even provide space for them to self-segment themselves. You've probably heard the term subscriber segmentation. We're going to talk about that today. It refers to a way of grouping your subscribers into groups based on their interests and behaviors, so you can send them more relevant content, offers, and other kinds of marketing messages. This really is an integral part of email marketing because it allows you to target your audience with personalized emails. And those are the emails that are going to have the best engagement, best open rate, best clicks. So you can use this technique to create multiple versions of your emails. So maybe you have an email that you use for a welcome email, one for a thank you email, and a follow-up email. And we'll give some good examples of that moving forward. As promised, I said we were going to talk about segmenting. Segmenting your email list helps you identify how best to categorize your customers. First, I want you to define your audience. Figure out who you are targeting, because the better that you understand your audience, the easier it becomes to write highly targeted email messages that feels like it's written for the individual customer, the person opening the email in their inbox. Maybe draw up like a list of traits of your customers, some things like how much they've spent with you, how often they make purchases, how long they've been a customer, where they live, like the geography, what products they like to purchase. A lot of these things that we've talked about, you can find in the metrics from your e-commerce platform, and you can start making segments within your email list. You can create segments within your contact list that will really allow you to send super curated emails specific to each segment and add some personalization, and it's going to be super impactful in your customer's inbox. I borrowed this graphic from online because it was really powerful. I thought it'd be really helpful so you can see the different ways that you can create segments and create really highly curated content to send out by email. And like Jordan said, you'll have all these slides later, so you can take a look at these segments in more detail and really think about how they may be able to apply to your business. All right, so for those of you that have joined me in past webinars, past courses, I challenge you to find goals that you set for everything that we do. No different for email marketing. You need to learn to establish the goals of your emails that you're going to send out. We've kind of figured out segments of who you are going to talk to. Now you have to figure out why you're going to talk to them. There are so many different ways that you can, goal set for your email marketing strategy. But some of the most common ones are nurture leads. Once you've captured a potential customer's email address, they become a lead for your business. Through email marketing, you can educate those leads about your brand and products until they're ready to buy. So maybe that's a goal for your emails, really nurture those leads. Another goal could be improve customer loyalty. So if you have a lead, the next thing is to convert them into a paying customer. So your job is to keep them buying, get them to buy, and keep them buying. And you can do that through sharing targeted promotions, recommending relevant products to what they've purchased in the past, and generally making them feel connected to your business. So perhaps that's another goal of your email marketing. A third is driving upsells and cross-sells. So I think it's really important to maximize the value of each customer by sharing upsell and cross-sell emails, highlighting complementary upgraded products or similar products. I know that upsell and cross-selling has gotten me in the past many times. I really might like a product, and so then I get an email that because the company knows I bought that product and it's complementary to another, they say, hey, because you like this, you might also like this. And I think, oh yeah, I might also like that too. Click, I add it to my cart and buy it. So those are opportunities. Upsells get us all the time in brick and mortar. You get to the register. There's add-ons and things that you can pick up along the way to the register. Same thing goes online as well. You know, customers that bought this also bought this, especially when it comes to electronics and things that you might need to have a case for or a stand for, or an accessory for. Those are all ways to upsell, and you can use email marketing to do that. Another email goal you could have, reduce cart abandonment. About 7 in 10 online shopping carts are abandoned. That's pretty big. I think probably all of you might raise your hand and say you've left something in a cart, or might have something in a cart right now. So one thing that you can do with email marketing is to recover some of that lost revenue by targeting those shoppers with personalized cart abandonment campaigns. And I'm going to show you more about those later, but you can actually send emails to the people that have items left in their cart. And lastly, a goal that everyone should have is obviously to grow your audience and boost your customer base. And you can do that by encouraging existing email subscribers to refer friends and family in return for a discount or promotion. We'll get into some other email content ideas later, but really think about ways that you can grow your audience and include that in your goal setting. So of course, with many email marketing programs, there's a way that you can have multiple goals. You might aim to increase average revenue per customer through cross-selling and upselling, drive loyalty by sharing, you know, provide some really personalized offers. That's great. There's going to be different goals for different campaigns that you do, but really take a step back before you start putting content in the emails and sending them out, and clearly define, you know, what is your goal for this campaign? How are you going to be able to define whether or not it performed well? Really think about those things. Don't just send stuff out and hope for the best. You know, think about your goals and your audience before you send, so that you can measure the effectiveness. I don't want you to waste your time. I want you to do a really great job in your e-commerce business. All right, moving right along. So we've talked about your audience, we've talked about segments, we've talked about goal setting, and now, you know, what kind of platform are you going to use for your email marketing? You will not have luck, I promise, running emails through your Gmail inbox or whatever email platform you use. It's not going to work. But on the other hand, there's really no universal best email marketing service provider, because different platforms cater to different users, budgets, industries, et cetera, et cetera. But really, generally speaking, you should look out for a tool that has these features that I have here shared on the screen. First, being user-friendly. It's really great to have a user-friendly interface. Ideally, you want a platform that's going to let you do everything yourself without relying on support from a development team or an agency. Really, in particular, something that's going to be easy enough for you to drag and drop and have a really good like email workflow builder, something that you have the power to be able to do when you want to do it, is really important. Next, I think it's important that the platform has good automation opportunities for you, because automated campaigns really cut down on busy work and allows you to do some pretty sophisticated things yourself. Just a simple example, when you capture a new lead, you want to automatically trigger an email welcome to come to them. So if you can find a platform that allows you to do some of that automation, it's going to be really helpful for you because you're busy. Another important thing with an email platform is customer-focused data. Your email tool should bring context to your customer data. You don't just want a big list of names, email addresses, and transactions. You need to understand what types of products a customer likes, how often they buy them, what promotions they're likely to resonate with, because that really helps you to set your goals and get the right kind of content in front of the right people. And speaking of the right people, segments again. You know, once you build a customer segment, you want to automatically update it in real time. So when a shopper makes a purchase, you'll want to be able to resegment them and move them into or tag them into different things based on their behavior. And so having a really good dynamic platform is going to be really important. Also, on-site lead capture tools. These are things that help you grow your marketing list through pop-ups. Again, tread lightly, but yes, pop-ups can help. Embedded forms are really helpful for signups. Any kind of little like sidebar or stick bar or slide in, whatever it might be. Being able to have some of these components are really helpful. There are really a lot of platforms out there that you can use for your email marketing. Some popular ones that I know businesses around Champaign-Urbana use are MailChimp, Constant Contact, MailerLite, HubSpot, even Drip sometimes. I know that Square and Spot On, the point of sale systems that we've talked about in the past, they also offer some email marketing, although they won't likely have the same functionality that maybe some of the other platforms will have, but they are options, and it is nice sometimes to have some integration with your point of sale. So I'm just curious what platforms you all are using for your email marketing or have been exploring if you haven't started yet. So if you want to drop that into the chat, then we can kind of see what folks are using right now. Looks like we have MailChimp, Constant Contact, ConverterKit. Those are the first three that popped up. Thanks for typing in the chat box there. I'll give others some time to drop what they're using or thinking about using in there, and we'll keep moving along to the fun part, which is creating an email. So when it comes to designing an effective email template, it's important to consider these things. Using a template to save time, your branding, what content you're going to put in there, and the imagery that you're going to put in there, finding ways to give more than you ask for, having a good subject line that's going to be effective, and then making sure that your emails are mobile friendly. And we're going to go through each of these in a little more detail so you can learn more about what you can do. So the first is I recommend using an email template to save time. By using an email template, you can reuse and repurpose copy to best fit the particular segment or campaign that you're working on, and also know that you have a foundation that is set and works well for you. It's going to save you time from reinventing the wheel every time you send an email. You can also design your own email template if you don't like the ones that are available to you in the platform that you use. So on the screen, I have some examples of where you can go to select a template. I've used templates a lot in the past for creating some automated emails, so that can be very helpful. However, if you look at these, they might not say to you, oh, that looks like my business. That's because you have to incorporate your branding. That's the next thing in creating an email. I think I've said branding about 100 times in every course so far. So you know that goal setting and branding are both very important to me. But you really need to fully brand your email template, implement your brand voice in the content, be consistent with your imagery, the style, the logo, the brand colors, really customize every single thing all the way down to the footer of the email so that it looks and sounds and feels like your business, your brand. That's super important. And the great thing about a lot of these email platforms is that even though you pick a template that might look kind of generic and plain in the beginning, you can go in and literally change almost every single thing about it to make sure that it works for your business. So this is where your brand guidelines really come in to play, being able to use the colors, the fonts, everything that you've established in your guidelines and bring it into your email template. Next thing is the content. When it comes to content within your email, I recommend you keep it short and sweet, maybe even a little conversational if that's the tone of voice that you use for your business. Think about what you're offering or like the key point as the header, how it will help the reader as the message body copy, and then what they should do next is the call to action. Keep your answers to these questions simple and just enough information and detail to encourage the reader to do something, take action in some way. Then don't forget to include links and buttons to additional and more detailed information, so that way it's not a long scrolling email, but it's little teeny hooks that encourage the person to take action, whether that's click to go back to your website, to view something, whatever it might be. Links and buttons are going to be your calls to action. I suggest adding them in multiple places throughout the email. Not that I want you to like shout at your customer, because kind of every time you have a call to action that's telling them to do something. I don't want you to yell at them. But unless you're sending a super short email that only takes a single screen roll, it's worth placing a call to action button in multiple spots throughout your email to ensure the message hits home. I had to break up the graphic that's on the screen in 3 parts so that it would show up all at once. But it's kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the start to end of an e-commerce style of email. I know we're all familiar with e-commerce styles of email, but you can see generally there's like a logo at the top. They call it a hero image. That's like your banner, your headline, a little info, a call to action. A secondary headline, maybe some more products that are complementary, and then a see all, which is a call to action that goes back to where all those are kept on your website. There could be a third headline with a link and an image, and then maybe some more information at the bottom. Thinking about this, from a recent e-commerce email that I got, you've got the hero image is right now, it's probably something having to do with spring, something seasonal, something that's launched like a seasonal collection. You've got your headlines, a description, a call to action. Underneath that could be maybe things that are on sale. You're clearing things out from the last season or a specific category within your products. And then you show 6 different items within there. And then see all, and then it goes to, wherever that category of products lives on your e-commerce site. Maybe fourth, the tertiary headline could be something having to do with, maybe it's a brand ambassador that's talking about something going on with the product or something that, a testimonial or something like that. You could put that there. So that's just a quick rundown of how you could create email content, kind of the flow of it listed, from top to bottom. Imagery, love imagery. It's important to include imagery in your email creation because it draws people in, connects readers to your message, and it can really help drive results. I would avoid using images that looked way too staged or unnatural, like stock images, unless you don't have any of your own, but really try to build up your own stock imagery and use your own products in use. These are 3 little screenshots of some emails that have some good imagery in them that lead back to what it is that that product is talking about, and kind of again shows you how it works from start to top, or from beginning to end of the flow of content from an email. I really like the food one. Maybe it's because it's lunchtime, but I like the hero image, what the call to action is, how it works. Another time it shows the call to action, contact. So that's a really good one. Next, give more than you ask for. So when you're creating your email, think about the 80-20 principle. That is providing valuable information 80% of the time and making sales or getting the reader to take action with promotions the other 20% of the time. Like we said, nobody likes to be shouted at or sold to all the time. So for being really effective with your email strategy, include a variety of emails that will build relationships and keep you top of mind with your audience. And so put in some, mix in different types of emails when you're creating your strategy, when you're goal setting. And this can include using content like we've talked about in past classes, like blog posts, recipes, collaborations with other businesses or brand ambassadors and those types of things. So a couple of quick little graphic shots from emails that we've all probably received very similar things. So just ways to give more than instead of shouting at people all the time. So the graphics are definitely good, and they are ones that you can use with social media as well. Also, subject line as part of our tips for creating an email. Half of respondents choose whether or not to open emails based on the subject line. So it's pretty important what you put in there. One of the most critical elements of writing and winning subject line is to make it the right length. There's a ton of studies out there, but really I try to keep it to somewhere between 28 and 50 characters for the subject line length. More specifically, the shorter the subject line is ideal because it caters to mobile users. Mobile has limited real estate on that screen, and so the shorter end of the spectrum of subject line is going to be better. Also, you can definitely test subject lines to see which ones perform better and use similar ones. Sometimes email platforms, depending on which one you use, will give you almost like a grade of how well your subject line is when you put it into the field when you're typing out your email. So that could also be useful to try, but you can see here from the screenshot that one subject line is too long and one is just right. So think about subject line in your emails. Also, like I've said before, email needs to be mobile friendly in order to ensure a great reading experience. Follow the guidelines of avoiding tiny text. Use text that's easy to read on any device. That's keeping the default sizes in your email template to, I don't know, let's say like 22 point for the headline and maybe 14 for the body copy. I have one client that likes 14 for the body. I have another like 16 for the body copy. It just really depends on your audience. Also using web-safe fonts that are pre-installed on devices. That way, if you use something too different, it doesn't get automatically translated into a different font and ends up looking really off-brand for you. Let's see what else. You'll get best results when you use 20 lines of text. If your content is longer, it's best to include a few short lines like a teaser and then a call to action. So think about that with not just the size of the text, but the amount of text in any one given block. Keeping subject lines short, we already talked about that. Including alt text with images. This was something that we talked about with accessibility on your websites, but it also is important in your emails as well. People on mobile are usually on the go. And so if they're trying to conserve data, sometimes they may adjust their settings to not automatically download images. So that means your images are going to be taking a hit. So including alt text with your images, make sure nothing is lost. Then also very important, the best thing you can do to make sure that your emails are mobile friendly is to preview and test. I know I said that for your subject lines, but also do it for your emails all together. When you create an email preview, depending on your platform, you can check preview and test. Here's a screenshot to show how to do that. And then it gets emailed to you and you can check it on your phone, you can check it on your tablet, you can check it on your desktop. But really testing the email is really important and making sure it shows up the way you want it to in your inbox. And a lot of platforms are showing you screenshots of what it's going to look like, an inbox preview. Those are all great things, but nothing beats testing it out for yourself. All right, so we've talked about a lot of things so far. We've talked about segments, we've talked about audience, we've talked about goal setting and platforms. We've talked about how to create an email and all the components of that. The next is a question that I get a lot, and it's when to send emails. The best time to send emails to customers is really depends on several factors. Some of it's like when they've last visited your website. What action they took while on your website, whether they've completed any transactions. One way to determine which time works best for email campaigns is using your Google Analytics. You can use the goal conversion section to view bounce rate, exit pages, and other data related to your goals. So that will give you some information. You could also consider other factors such as open rates, seeing whether people open more on holidays or later in the evenings. Generally, I try to avoid too late in the evening, Monday mornings, Friday evenings. But I have noticed, depending on who my client is that we're sending emails out for and what type of products or services they're offering, we've gotten some really great traction on times when I didn't think there'd be people opening email. A very recent example is Super Bowl Sunday. I work for a women's boutique in town, and we sent out an email at 7 o'clock on Super Bowl Sunday. I didn't even remember that it was Super Bowl Sunday. I mean, I did once it came to Sunday, but obviously when I scheduled the email to go out, I was like, oh, we've had pretty good responses on Sunday evening, so I'm going to go ahead and schedule it. I didn't realize how great of a response we were going to have. The call to action was to sign up for something, and we had over a dozen signups in like the first 5 minutes that the email went out, which was really great for that client for what they were doing that day. So, you know, I guess there were a lot of ladies during the Super Bowl that were bored in that first half and decided to check their email. So for us, that worked really well, and we'll definitely consider that in the future. So as far as how often to send emails out, really it depends on the business, but on the screen, I've noted some general guidelines to help get you started based on the type of email being sent, whether it's a newsletter style of email, a push for a product, or brand education. So it's not just about when to send your emails, but also how often. It depends on the audience that you're sending it to and the goal of that email. Automation, super important. Email marketing offers an automation component that is very useful. I've done it many times in platforms, tools like MailChimp and Constant Contact. These programs allow you to create automated emails based on triggers, such as when someone opens an email, clicks on a link, or purchases something from you. This way, you don't have to manually send out those emails, which I think we all know is going to alleviate a little bit of stress, especially when you're dealing with multiple different subscribers and segments. Welcome emails, as an example of automated emails, are usually sent automatically to new subscribers when they sign up, purchase a product, or make an account. When you create a welcome series of emails, consider things about the customer and the journey that they're on with your business. So it's beneficial to space the emails out over a set period of time and create each one with a specific intention. So another goal setting opportunity. What's the point of sending these out? What is your goal for each one? A welcome series is a great way to keep potential customers engaged after they signed up for something, especially since they receive emails from other companies almost all day long. So some examples include like, welcome, we hope you like our product, or, you know, welcome to your account, here's more information, maybe give them an opportunity to do some more self-segmenting. Or it's like the one on the screen for Food 52. It's a $10 off when you spend $50 more by entering the code. So that's a great little incentive to add to the welcome email. Abandoned cart emails are great to engage a customer that has left items in the cart but not completed the purchase. Cart abandonment emails, like we learned that 7 out of 10 people have abandoned items in their cart. But sending them an email, there's a 41% open rate, which is higher than a typical email marketing campaign open rate when you send that to the abandoned cart folks. So not only will they work, but especially they will work if it's within 24 hours of that customer leaving the cart abandoned. That's your kind of window of opportunity to recover the sale. List the items that are in the cart, recommendations for other items to consider, maybe let the person know about special offers or discounts, such as a first-time buyer coupon code. You can automate abandoned cart emails and set up triggers within your email commerce platform so that each time a customer abandons their cart, an email is automatically generated. You can do this using webhooks, which allows you to track events on your e-commerce website and then send notifications to the email service provider. So that integration between your e-commerce platform that you choose and your email platform is super important, and obviously something to consider when you're choosing the right platform for your business. So once you are sure that you have that integration and the webhook set, then you can set up an abandoned cart email sequence that will trigger a series of emails if the customer doesn't convert immediately. I love this abandoned cart email graphic, so I put it on there. Missing your cart, and then it actually shows the items that the person had left in their cart in there. I thought that that was super clever. Obviously, they have a really advanced email marketing and e-commerce platform to be able to do that, but I thought that that was just spot on. Really with the automation and your emails, every email is going to have a slightly different objective, so really make sure that you have a goal for what the automation is, so you're not overwhelming the customer. Sometimes people think the abandoned cart emails are a little creepy because it's like, oh, wow, they're really watching me, but 41% open rate is pretty great. And so obviously not that many people think it's too creepy that they're getting an email from you saying these are the things that you left in your cart. But setting up a sequence of the abandoned cart emails is going to be helpful. One, checking in, and the other, inspiring a sense of urgency to get them to re-engage and convert to a sale. Again, with reports, I think I've ended every one of my presentations with something about reports, but you can see, especially with the email marketing, how important it is to define the metrics for your website and understanding your customers and their buying behavior so that you can more effectively curate email marketing. Really, it's going to save you a lot of time if you really get familiar with your marketing reports. With email marketing, knowing what types of things are working and which ones may not be working are going to help you to not waste time in the future with what you're putting together and what you're sending out. So I encourage you that every time after you send an email, check your metrics to see how well the email performed. And then over time, you can start looking for trends like who's engaging or clicking in your messages. Even use the data to segment your list and send more personalized content out in your emails. Generally with email marketing, you're going to see things in your reports for opens, bounce rate, click-through, spam report, unsubscribes, and opt-outs. Opens are the total number of times an email is opened, including repeat opens. A little side quick story about opens. I did a lot of work with a med tech company over the years, and we would send emails out to physicians about product updates and information. And we were noticing that there was a doctor that was opening it up several times, but we never heard from this doctor. And so the sales team, I gave that information to the sales team, and the sales team was able to connect with the doctor. And he was really into it and was opening it on different devices and showing it to other doctors. And really, it took someone from the sales team to reach out to him to get him to engage, and eventually that caused us to be able to get a sales call and get a product in his hands. So keeping tabs on opens is really helpful, who's opening it and repeatedly opening the emails. Bounce rate is the percentage of email subscribers that did not receive your message. So there's something wrong either with their email or their server or delivery. And so checking that is really helpful so that you can keep your subscriber list clean. Click-through rate is the percentages of clicks an email receives based on the number of contacts who open the email. I love to look at click-through rate because that helps to know, are your call to actions or your buttons being clicked? The spam report shows the contacts in your email list who receive your communication and report it as unwanted. And so you want to make sure that that's not happening very often. And if it is, you need to keep your email list clean and make sure that the unsubscribes or the opt-outs, those are the contacts who have decided to no longer receive your emails, are not getting them and keeping them off of your list. And most platforms help you do a good job of sorting these things out because it is important to keep your lists clean and your emails deliverable. All right, so I thought that was going to take me a little bit longer than 40 minutes to get through, but I know I talked really fast. I would love to be able to answer some questions. I'm glad we have a little bit of time to do that because I know in some of the beginning webinars earlier in this session, some of you repeat attendees had some questions specific to email marketing. So I'd love for you to type them in the chat, or if you weren't here before but are joining us today, awesome. You know, if you have some questions about your emails, building lists, segmenting, choosing a platform, branding templates, coming up with automations, whatever it might be, drop those questions in the chat and we can cover those and try to address them.
Thanks, Natalie. Right now we don't have any questions, but I did want to bring something up, and maybe it's new, so maybe you haven't heard of it or it hasn't come across your desk yet. But we had a client come to us recently that uses Constant Contact, and they had shared some information about a notice that they got about how it was going to be updating the, I believe it was the, like, either the respond to email or the from email. So it didn't look as personalized anymore. It was going to make it obvious that it's coming as a bulk email. Have you heard anything about that? Is that happening to maybe like free accounts through Constant Contact or something like that? Or like I said, we've only had it brought up once, so I think it's a very new thing, but I just wanted to check with you as well.
It's all of them. So it's happening on the MailChimp the accounts that I use and with Constant Contact, and it's for transparency.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually go into the settings and it will allow you to make some customization of it. Otherwise, if you don't do anything, they'll just change it for you automatically.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure someone in our call today will come across that as well, that notice. So I just wanted to get it asked for everyone to hear. But like I said, we did have someone bring it to our attention recently as well.
Yep. Yes. There's always going to be changes made, and depending on where you're sending to, you know, especially if you're sending outside of the United States by email, there's other things to consider with, you know, email marketing. But yeah, that's something that's come up, I would say probably in like the past 6 weeks. I saw it first on Constant Contact, and then I also saw the notice in MailChimp. I don't know if I've seen it in any of the point of sale email lists that I'm working with right now. And I'm thinking of like the CRMs that I work with. Those are all integrated into either MailChimp or Constant Contact as their email platform. So that was already taken care of. But yeah, if you go up into your settings, they'll describe more what's going on and then what you can do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
We don't have any other questions that have been submitted, but we will hang tight real quick just to make sure nothing comes in. I do want to reiterate, because I know we had some people jump on after we had started. You will receive the recording of this. So if there was something you had missed in the beginning that you weren't on the call yet for, or if there's just some information you want to revisit, we'll make sure that you get the recording and a copy of the presentation, and those will go out tomorrow. And that email will also include links to register for the last 2 sessions of this 6-part series. So you want to join us for those. I do see some people who have been here for all of our sessions so far, so I appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you so much, Natalie, for presenting, and we look forward to seeing all of you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds great. Yep, we'll talk about social media next time and then customer reviews at the end.
All righty, everybody. Oh, we got an email, a question. It says, MailerLite is asking me to authenticate the email, but I am using my U of I account. Is that problematic?
That's a good question. You should be able to authenticate your email if you are sending something out and it's part of the same domain. You should be able to authenticate it. Sometimes, a few times in the past, when I've worked with people that have U of I email addresses or have web pages or websites that they're using that's through the university, there are a few hoops to jump through because of the way they have you know, different safety precautions set up. So that's a tough one without I don't want to say, yeah, it's going to be fine, because then there might be like a firewall or something that you might have to address with, I don't know if they call it their IT folks or not, but you should be able to authenticate your email address on your own, unless there's something like a firewall or something in your spam that's blocking them from being able to do that from MailerLite.
Perfect. Yeah, my suggestion would be go ahead and try it and see what you run into, based off what Natalie said. So hopefully that helped.
Yes, I hope so. If not, that's my contact information. I'll try to help you troubleshoot. I don't mind doing that.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'll start this spiel again because that means another question will come in, which is great. Please submit your questions if we have them. We always appreciate them. But that email will go out tomorrow. And thank you everyone for joining us, and have a great day.
Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.